Okay, we're joined by our race-winning driver and crew chief,
We may.
See ya.
Kyle Larson and Chad Johnson. Kyle, this is Kyle's second career victory. Kyle, we'll start with you. After a string of runner-up finishes, you're in victory lane. Outstanding starts to the season. Only the second driver to win from the pole here in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series, and of course, retain the points lead in the Monster Energy Series. Talk about just the dominant effort today.
Yeah, it was definitely a great run for us. We were able to lead a lot of laps, win that first stage, and then I made a mistake on pit road and slid through, well, not through my box, but through my sign, and was too close to the wall on the left side, and the jack couldn't get up as fast, so our stop was really slow on that one. I lost some spots and was able to get right to second, though, on the restart, and just kind of abused my tires that run and fell back to third or fourth. And then got back to second for the end of that second stage, and had a good restart there to start the final stage, and got out to the lead and kind of try to run my own pace and take care of my tires, and actually pulled away from Truex quite a bit, and then he had gained a lot on us on that green flag stop. I probably came to pit road a little slow just to be safe, because I had the stop before I came in really hot and almost sped. So he closed it on us there, and then was really good when we left for that run, and I had to battle him, and he got by me, and I was able to get back by him, and then kind of pull away a little bit, and then that's when all the cautions started coming out, and we had some decent restarts there at the end, but still had more cautions and had to actually come back down pit road, put 4 new tires on, and get some more good restarts. So the pit calls were great. The pit crew did an amazing job, and a fairly clean race for us. So lots of fun to be Kyle Larson right now. Our race cars are really fast in Xfinity and Cup, so it's a blast to show up to the racetrack every week.
And Chad, Chip mentioned about your race-winning call of calling in Kyle for tires when the second and third stayed out. Can you talk about that decision and the race-winning move that was?
Yeah, I mean, in general, at a place like this where you have a lot of tire fall off, it makes that decision a little bit easier. You get 2 or 3 laps on your tires, you're kind of at a disadvantage. I always try to put him in the position to be the aggressor. I don't feel like there's anybody that's going to be any better on a restart than what he will be, especially if I can give him tires. So we had a fast enough car. I didn't figure that many cars would stay out. Only 3 stayed out, which gave us the top in fourth. So I figured that would work out pretty well for us. And as usual, you get a lot of late cautions here. It went green for the most part. I think at one point we had 18 cars on lead lap. So the segments definitely brought something different to it, and brought some more interest and more cars back on the lead lap. But at the end of the day, we just had a fast enough car to do what we needed to do.
Great. Thank you, Chad. Okay, we'll open it up to questions. We'll start up at the front with Kate. Go to Bob. Back.
Okay, Presto Cars in Competition. What did you think when that last caution came out? What were your exact thoughts and what were your planning in your head, not going with what Chad was saying, but what were you personally thinking?
I was thinking, I'm really good friends with Ricky, but I was thinking, dang it, Ricky, that's the second time you spun late in a race and I've been leading. But no, it was, I was just trying to stay calm and focus on, what was ahead of me and, what was upcoming on the restart. So it seems like every time I get to the lead of one of these, NASCAR races, cautions always fall. And I'm always having to fight people off on restarts, and a lot of times I've gotten beat, but today we did a good enough job to hold the lead. So stayed focused and stayed calm and had a good result.
Bob. Bob. Behind you.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. You said it's great to be Kyle Larson right now. Why now? And how do you keep it up for another 31 races?
Well, I'm really fortunate to be driving really fast race cars right now. Our cars are by far as good as they've ever been, and really good at every racetrack right now. So in both series, I feel like I have a shot to win every time I go to the racetrack. So that's always a lot of fun. That's always something I've hoped for, to get to a point of that in my NASCAR career, You know, in the past, you know, I had racetracks where I knew I'd be good at, but right now we're going to do, you know, some tracks that aren't great for me and run it up front. So it's a lot of fun to you know, have that confidence in the race team and be able to go to the track and fight hard and go for wins. How do we keep it up? Chad. Chad, Chad will give us some fast race cars, and everybody at the race shop will keep finding speed and downforce and everything that goes along with going fast, and hopefully that's what it takes to, you know, be the point leader throughout the rest of the year.
Let's keep it over here to Brant.
Brant James, USA Today Sports. Now that you've ended that second place run with a win, willing to admit there might have been a little frustration there, or just culminating with a win that seems like less of a lost opportunity, that 3-race stretch?
You know, no, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of frustration. Really, my frustration last week was that, you know, I felt like I was in the best spot to win, and just made, you know, I guess a little mistake there. So I wasn't, you know, frustrated with the consecutive seconds. I just was frustrated that I was confident going in the last restart and didn't get it done. But to come back, you know, strong this week and get the pole and get the race win is it's great to rebound from a, you know, mistake like that.
Let's go to Daryl, and then we'll go back here.
Fox Sports at the buzzer. This is for both of you. I found the analogy of bridesmaids to be kind of ridiculous, and now that you won, can you comment on it? And is it the weather? Is it In-N-Out Burger? What happened this weekend for both of you that tied it in?
Yeah, I came out 4 and told them to go ahead and put the bridesmaid's dress back in the closet because we weren't putting that one on again. So I don't know. I mean, I love racetracks like this. It's a big, fast track with multiple grooves. It really suits my driving style. And then, you know, I keep saying it, but our race cars are just really, really fast right now. So obviously the food and the friends out here are nice, but having good race cars is good for anything. McDonald's is a great sponsor of ours, so got some Big Macs.
Okay, right there.
Kathy Brown, pitting outside the box. Expand a little more on that final restart. I mean, at any time were you worried that maybe Brad or Clint, who hasn't been to Victory Lane in a while, was going to catch you, and what could happen if they did?
I was definitely, I knew Brad was probably going to be, well, him and Martin I thought were going to be the two that I would have to fight off. I was happy that Martin was pushing me down the front stretch, but I was also a little nervous at the same time because if he pulled off really quick and side drafted me and slowed my momentum down on entry, that maybe he could carry that momentum past me off of 2, and then I would be fighting, you know, Brad. Both of us would be fighting to get past Martin. So, you know, thankfully it didn't work out that way, and we were able to get the win.
Gentleman in the black.
Elliot Stern, Santa Maria Times. You swept the weekend, qualifying yesterday's race today. How surprised are you, and how pleased are you with the sweep?
I'm more surprised that I won the race yesterday than I won the race today. I was very confident going into today's race. I knew our race car was extremely good throughout the practices yesterday. In the Xfinity race, I struggled in practice and then struggled in the first half of the race. So didn't really expect to win that one, but we were able to find the speed at the end to do it. But yeah, it was a solid weekend. Definitely the best of my NASCAR career.
Go to Jerry, then Bob, then Holly.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTires.net, Performance Racing Network. You've got a sizable lead in the points. That doesn't mean a lot right now, but it's got to make you feel good. More importantly, you are probably locked in for the playoffs. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel good. I felt like we would have the speed to make the playoffs anyways going into the year. But getting all these stage wins and then playoff bonus points is huge to coming into the playoffs. So hopefully we can get more stage wins and get more race wins to kind of pat ourselves a little bit when it gets to playoff time, and can use those when we need to in the playoffs.
Bob.
Bob Pockers, ESPN. I saw you tweet about Dave Steele last night. How well did you know him, and I don't know whether you all sprint car guys talk about it at all this morning, or did you have any contact with anybody from USAC today?
A little bit. And I grew up watching like Thursday Night Thunder and stuff like that, and Dave Steele was always the man when it came to pavement racing. And yeah, I mean, you look at like him and Bobby Santos, they were the two pavement specialists that were the best. So I got to watch him win a lot on TV, and then I was actually I didn't know him personally very well, but I was lucky enough to be teammates with him one time at New Smyrna when I ran a USAC midget race there, and he was a very quiet guy, and I just remember it being like a honor to be a teammate with him that night, because he was so good at pavement racing, and New Smyrna was a pavement track, and I was confident in that because I knew he was going to have some input in on what our baseline setup was going to be for that weekend, and knew we were going to be good, and got the win. So that was cool to get to spend a little bit of time with him that weekend, but definitely a tragedy. He's probably not very well known, but to the open wheel community, he's one of the greatest ever USAC racers. So feel terrible for his family and all of the racing community. So our thoughts and prayers go out to them, and yeah, it's just sucks.
Holly? Do you have a question? Okay, and we'll go over here.
Yeah, Kyle, Jim Alexander from the Southern California News Group. Is there a certain comfort factor that develops the more you're in the car, the more you're on these tracks, and has that kind of contributed to the streak that you're on right now?
Yeah, every time you go back to a track for what would now be probably my 7th or 8th time to these places, it helps. Experience is a great thing, and when you have good race cars to go along with it, it makes it even better, and you can learn more. So yeah, it's Fontana's a track that really suits me though. So hopefully we can learn a lot throughout the rest of the season at all these other racetracks and get some more wins.
Race winning owner, Chip Ganassi. Chip, I believe this is your first win at Auto Club Speedway, but you said it a number of times.
Exactly, in NASCAR, yes.
In NASCAR, right? And coming in here, you said you like winners, and after a number of runner-up finishes, Kyle finally made it to victory lane and pretty dominant performance. Talk about it from your vantage point.
Yeah, first of all, I thought that race was never going to be over there at the end. It was, thought we were having a pretty clean day there until the end, and it's just a culmination of a lot of hard work. I've spoken to a lot of you about just we made. Everybody said, what is it this year? What is it? Why are your cars good? Why this? Why that? And I keep saying in this business, it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much to be good, and it doesn't take much to be bad. And we just made some small changes over the winter in our organization. We try to look at places that need improvements, and we make improvements. I think obviously a lot of it's down to Kyle. I think he's starting to mature in the series and learning what the cars will accept and what the cars won't accept in terms of a race. Putting a weekend together, putting together practice, putting together qualifying, putting together race practice, a race, pit stop after pit stop after pit stop, keeping your head in the game. I think he's matured a lot in that manner, and I couldn't be happier for him.
Great, thank you, Chip. I'll open up to questions for Chip. Go to Holly and then up here.
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. Hey, Chip, congratulations.
Thank you.
Could you also speak about that it's not, Kyle winning is huge, but Kyle and Jamie, both of your teams have done so well this year, and today was another example of that, but It's been the whole organization.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, with Jamie was 6th today, right? And 6th? Yeah. And, again, can't say enough about, it's hard sometimes when you have a group of so many people are involved in these teams, so many people back in Charlotte, back at the home base, putting the cars together, building our own chassis. That was the subject of a lot of talk the last few weeks. finish fab, on the shake rig, in the wind tunnel. It takes so many people and so many long, hard hours. And you like I said earlier, you make it just takes little changes. And little changes can, like I said, take you to the promised land. They can take you to your day of reckoning too, And I think that the fact, I couldn't be prouder. Every team owner wants their cars, they want their cars, to be like this on the track, not one in the front, one in the back, so that's really rewarding from a team point of view. I think it validates the way that Max and Chad and Matt run the team and Tony, the way they run the team. I think that sort of validates their MO, if you will. Yeah.
Go up in the front here.
Okay, Presto Cars and Competition, congratulations as
Thanks,
always.
Kay.
You've always excelled in no matter what kind of racing you've done, and as a race driver too. Did you anticipate that the car was that good that he could do a clean sweep this weekend like he did? And how did you feel when that last caution came out and he came in for tires?
I'll be honest with you. I forget what the last guy, was it the last caution he came for tires? I think it was 2 cautions from the end. Maybe he came for tires. Yeah. And I will tell you, I did not have the nerve to make that call. I would never have, that's why there's guys that do that way better than me. I used to do that in my younger days, run the cars and that, but I don't do that anymore for that reason. And that was the winning call. I mean, that was obviously the winning call. And so my hat's off to Chad Johnston for making that call. What was the rest of the question? I'm sorry.
Did you expect there'd be such a clean sweep this weekend?
No, nobody ever expects it. I do know that I think when Kyle comes back to California, he's got a little more spark in his step. He's kind of his, I wouldn't call this his home track, but at least it's probably, one of the tracks that's closest to his home. And he's got a lot of fans here in California, obviously, from Northern California. But yeah, I think he likes this place. I think this, Michigan. I mean, he likes a lot of places, as you've seen the last few weeks. I think he excels a little more here, and I couldn't be happier because I think early in his career, the bigger tracks, he took it was a little bit of a learning curve. Some of the more high-speed places, he went through a bit of a learning curve that I think, none of us, just let's say went through a learning curve. A little more than he did on a short track. Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Go to Bob.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. As he was going through the learning curve, was there ever a point where you thought, would you learn faster, or is he ever going to learn?
Yeah, no, I don't think, Bob. I think, I think I was talking to someone this morning about that, how, everybody wants to compare these drivers coming up to Jeff or to Tony or to, this guy, that guy, whoever they want to compare to. And, they always say, well, Jimmy Johnson only won one Xfinity race, I mean, everybody's got these sort of little one-liners that there's no answer to. And they want to compare everybody. And I think today you have to look at these guys coming into the sport you have to look in their totality, where you have to look at their situation. You got to look at who the team is, who's working on the car, who's engineering the cars, who's doing the pit stops. It's not just an automatic come in and 100 races later you're winning races on a regular basis. I think I just think that takes a little more education than that today. You have to peel a little more of the onion back to get to that kind of analysis today. You have to look more in the totality of the whole situation these young guys come in at. Do you understand what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Yes, it's a big onion these days, getting bigger. Yes. Yes.
John Hervold, PopularSpeed.com. Chip, I was just wondering, how much do your IndyCar drivers pay attention to the NASCAR side?
Yeah, they do. It's all one team. They're all tweeting each other and texting each other and congratulations, and all it goes all ways on the team. To the sports cars, to the Indy cars, to NASCAR. They're all 3 of them are. It's really nice because they get I think there's a lot of speed in that, if you will. Having teammates. You have a question are you going to get an honest answer from people? You know what I mean? And you sort of have a little bit of best practices come into play, that I think there's a lot of speed in that. I think the other teams learn from each other, the drivers learn from each other. Maybe they don't learn how to drive at, California Speedway in a stock car, but but they learn lots of other things, and I think they all play off one another, and they motivate each other, certainly.
Gentlemen, right?
Chip,
Yes.
Mike Arthur, Sports Life Magazine. You've had a lot of great drivers who've driven for you over the years. How would you rate these two who've just had an amazing start to the season?
Yeah, you'd have to say that that they're I don't know, with Jamie. Look, he's proven himself on the at Daytona and the Brickyard, those kind of races. I think with Kyle, he's just, I don't think anybody knows. I think the runway is, the runways, he's got a lot of runway and a lot, we didn't have the engine spooled up yet, and we got a long runway to go. So, I think he's just scratching the surface in terms of what he's capable of. I have no idea what he's capable of. Your guess is as good as mine. Yeah.
Any questions from the media center? How about the Terrace Press? Skybox Press? Okay, we have one more wrap it up here, and then we'll welcome the race-winning driver and crew chief.
Chip, there he is. Taking away the Motorsports Report. Two-part thing. We were talking about speed and your teams and stuff. So in a situation when overall your whole race team, do Mike Hall and like Chris Simmons, do they all talk to these guys? And
Lots of interaction between Mike and Max and the engineers in both places, and they like I said, it's something that they sort of feed off each other, and develop a best practices situation.
now here's the second part of this question. If one of these guys came to you, like Kyle, and said, hey, that car Scott Dixon's got looks kind of fun. Could I do some laps in that at Indy? I run around the Brickyard. I know the track.
May's only a couple months away. So.
Yeah, could I
told me
could I
we're
drive
about
that
one
car? What
cup
would you,
race. Now we got two.
what would you tell him? What would you tell him if one of your guys or Scott wanted to drive?
They're
Kyle's
always
car?
all the cars are available to all the guys to drive anytime they want. They know that, and it's in terms of taking a guy to the Indianapolis 500 or something like that. That's another story. But but they're sure if they want to get in, absolutely, no reason why any of them couldn't get in any of the cars at a test or someplace they like. Sure, yeah.
Test would be fun to see him in.
Sure.
I'd love
I
to
think
do
it's. I think whenever he's ready. Yeah. Whenever he says he's in, just show up. You're in. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chip. Obviously, you're welcome to
Thanks,
stick around,
See ya.
but
See ya.